name is Chris Peck. I'm the president and founder of Guarantee Federal Mortgage, and we just finished a closing for a DJ and Bryn as far as first-time home buyers, very first home. So first of all, congratulations to you guys as far as that goes. And basically what I'm going to talk about real quick is, knowing that this was their very first home, they actually went and bought a brand new construction home as far as it goes. I won't mention the builder, but a brand new construction home. So I know they're very excited about that. But the purpose of what I want to talk about is, in buying new homes, a lot of times the builders give certain incentives to the consumer to go and utilize their lender, or how I don't want to use the word steer, but basically use different people within their own sphere of influence to control that transaction, which I get why they do that from a business perspective. But when they do that, a lot of times the clients don't really understand why have other options. And sometimes the way the incentive package are structured, and I'll just use a simple analogy, if I'm going to give you $1, but then I charge you $1, I really didn't give you anything.
Right.
So it's skewed in a way that makes it seem like you're getting more than you actually are getting. And sometimes if you don't really have somebody break it down and explain, because the builder doesn't explain it to you that way, you don't really know. So you're not getting the best value, nor the best lending experience from my personal experience in doing this for so many years as well. So DJ, with that set up as far as it goes, kind of tell me how, what that was like when you got to the builder and kind of what you saw, and then how it transitioned to where when I came in and we had, I would think, a different experience as far as educating you on what you were doing, how you're doing it, loan options, and then to where we are now.
Yeah, so just the whole process of buying a home is overwhelming, especially the first time. And we're big information people. We want to be educated. We want to be feeling comfortable with our decision. We don't want to be experts at it, but it's just about just knowing.
Mm-hmm.
A couple lenders we talk to, it's just going straight to the loan and the numbers and looking at your credit score. Okay, you qualify for this. It's okay, but I still don't know anything, right? So you could go forward with it, and then you miss a lot of things during the process. So I felt and she felt as well, man, we're just missing something. We need to really get educated. And then luckily one of my coworkers who I trust, because he's very thorough based off my experience with him, let me know hey, I had the same experience. I talked to a couple lenders and it just didn't feel right. And then this guy, Chris, he was talk to him. I remember our first convo, you took my phone call, we were on the phone for over an hour, and it wasn't talking about the loan or credit score. Just you were educating me on the details of what this looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wow, I texted her right after, and I'm this guy's legit. This guy's legit. He really educated me. I learned more than I ever learned for the home buying process. And then we got on a phone call, me and her,
all
with
three
you,
of us, yep.
And that was over an hour. And then you touched on the same stuff we talked about, but went even deeper. And I know she appreciated that. And we left that conversation okay, this is the direction we need to go in. Because I know you brought up how these other lenders, they'll offer these, the bells and whistles, and it's a kind of a cover up.
I hate to say that, but in some ways, yes.
Because a lot of people would just jump at that. Because I'm getting this, I'm getting $10,000, or I'm getting $20,000.
And that's what it was with the $10,000 is a lot of money for anybody as far as that goes. So it becomes very attractive when you hear that.
Yes.
If I didn't know what I know, and somebody where do I sign?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's the first response most people have. But no, I understand what you're saying. I think that's why it's good for people to hear that, because if they don't know. Knowledge is power, and without the knowledge, you can't make an educated buying decision as far as it goes. So thank you for touching on that.
Yeah, so that was very important for us, just the education, and you taking the time to do that for us on multiple occasions, that helped build the trust. And whenever we had our contract, you went through the contract with us and pointed out stuff that we didn't even notice.
Most lenders don't do that.
Right.
No, not to blow my own horn here, but I think it's important to do, because you're right. Those builder contracts they're a lot more complicated than normal contracts are, to be honest, at least from what I've seen. And there's so many different pages of layers that maybe you catch this, maybe you don't. But if you don't understand it, again, how do you move forward with confidence, and how do you make an educated buying? Or how do I know how to best make sure from a fiduciary standpoint, make sure we're not just getting a loan, but getting the right loan and structuring things properly as far as that goes. So.
Yeah, and I feel we did that. You really dug deep into our situation, and was I know you had our best interest, and that's why we about finding the right loan for where we're at currently in our life. And I felt like you really like cared and listened to us and educated us, and that like made the process way easier, because we talked about this the other day. Like, this could have been way more stressful.
Yes.
This whole process, if we didn't have like this type of experience like with you.
Yeah. I'm glad you said it, because again, the average person, I hate to keep going back to this, but again, you don't know what a bad experience looks like until after you've had it, because you don't know what to expect, right?
Yes.
Now, if you went through this and thinking, hey, this was great, this isn't how they all normally work out.
Right.
Unfortunately, I've heard too many stories about, not even just first-time homeowners, the buyers in general go, and they don't have the same experience. But because they don't know, I don't think they know to even look into anything else. And that's what's the expectation. Every lender's going to do it the same way. And the reality is, unfortunately, we don't. But when you get that experience, and kind of what you talked about as far as looking at, the different options. When we first started talking about that, we were talking about, hey, not just credit-wise, income-wise, those are the base things that every lender looks at. But as you said, one of the very first things that, and I hate to say this again, one of the very first things that most lenders in our industry is, I'm going to send you to this portal, go fill out this application, pull your credit, upload some docs, and I'll get back to you. That doesn't tell you, the consumer, anything for what you need to know to be able to make an educated buying decision. And it gives us some basic information, but how do I really know what's best for you unless we have an engagement and we have those longer conversations? So I understand why lenders don't do it, but at the same token, in my opinion, this is the only way to do it.
Yeah.
And that's why we did have those conversations. And once we determined that, we went from one program to another program, and then your financial situation changed to a certain degree when we went through it. And I said, well, based on this, now I think we should go this way for these specific reasons. Again, that in itself, why you guys got the experience for your very first time, in my experience in lending, it is unique. Not every customer does get that. And the fact that you guys also were open and you were engaged and you let me share these different reasons for why I think this is right. Because I'm only as good as helping as I am understanding what your financial situation and what your goals and what you're trying to accomplish is. And by knowing those things, we can formulate a strategy, put you on a path, show you how to execute it, and not just start the race, but actually win.
Yes.
And that's basically what it is. The fact that you got involved, Brent, in the very beginning, I think, was paramount as well. When you got on the phone and DJ told you kind of what was going on, did you have any apprehensions at first as found? Not that you told me, obviously, but that, well, maybe we shouldn't talk to anybody else, the builders give, but where were you with that as far as that goes?
So how I felt in the situation is, I'm a big why. I want to know why. I want to understand what I'm doing before I make a decision for my family, for myself. So whenever we first went through our first person, we were just, okay, like, we got the what. Like, this is what you need to do, this, and this. And I was like, okay, why? What? Like, before I didn't think there was any ill will or anything with that.
Sure.
It's just like, okay,
no maliciousness to it, but just at the end of the day, not really educating.
Exactly. And then whenever he said that he spoke to you and he's like, he explained everything, like, you need to hear what he needs to say, like, you will find so much comfort. And so whenever we spoke on the phone for that 1 hour, probably a little bit more than that, but it was very comforting. And I feel like that momentum and that foundation kind of went through the entire process, to where every time we got information, I was like, okay, we understand what we're looking at, we know what we're signing, we know what we're reading, instead of something getting presented to us, sign here. And it's the same situation right now, is that, like, whenever she was saying something, I was like, okay, I've seen this before. I was like, I understand what I'm signing, I understand what I'm doing, I understand what this will turn into in the long run. So it was very comforting to not just go through, like, just being told what to do, instead of having a conversation and being like, hey, let's work together to figure this out for everyone. Did
you feel like we were all involved through the same process, and our goal all was the same, to get you to the same point collectively? Because that's, as a business owner, that's important to me. And I'd like to think I'm good at doing that, but obviously it doesn't matter what I think if you guys don't feel the same way. You guys were actively involved. You kept, as I kept telling you throughout this process, it's the little bitty things sometimes that really make a difference in lending. Like we talked, moving monies from one account to the next. As an average consumer, you wouldn't, it's my money, why can't I move it? I'm not saying you can't, but you're going to create a paper trail of more stuff I'm going to have to bother, kill a few more trees. Why go through that process? Let me show you how to do this, which account to move the money from. Those little things right there make the lending process so much easier to go through, so much easier not just get the loan started, but get the loan approved, and less paperwork and less hassle, quite frankly, for all of us as far as it goes. So the fact that you guys listened, you let me educate you, hell, just the stuff that we talked about on the closing disclosure of the day, about the builder and the property tax prorations and how the builders only give you credit for unapproved property taxes.
Yeah.
Did you know anything about that? Guess what?
No chance.
Nobody does.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? As a consumer, I wouldn't know those things either, because why do you ever come across it? You know what I mean? I know because I've done this for so many years, but I know they don't. And while it has nothing to do with what we do as a lender, I know it's going to come up as a question, so we take the time, address it before you get here, so the notary doesn't have to go and explain, because that's not really their job to explain this stuff to you. Their job is to make sure you execute and sign the documents properly.
Yeah.
But the fact that we went through it and we addressed it, I think that was paramount, because that everything was great, but you get here and you don't understand that part. You know, unfortunately, in my line of work, I have a saying: 99% of a good job, unfortunately, means it's a failure. Where in life, if you win 99% of the time, there's a pretty good success rate, right? But in mortgage lending, if one domino doesn't fall, it doesn't matter if all the other ones did. It's unfortunately, somehow, some way, it's not a success. We made sure the last domino fell, and at the end of the day, you understood. I know you relayed that to her as far as that goes. You get here, you sign, you dial the line. Now, you know, you're a few moments away from being brand new homeowners as far as that goes. So, with that all being said, we're going to wrap this up. Thank you, DJ. Thank you, Brent. I sincerely, for whatever it's worth to you guys, I personally sincerely appreciate the fact that trust. I appreciate the candor, the transparency in our conversations. I appreciate the engagement. If more consumers treated these financial transactions, in my opinion, with the level of reverence they deserve. You're borrowing hundreds of thousands of dollars. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're not. This isn't buying a car.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know, you're buying a home, and it's the largest financial transaction most of us as Americans are ever going to engage in. And if more people treated this with a reference, took the time to educate themselves, listen to somebody who wants to educate them and become in the knowledge and in the know, this can be a much, much more enjoyable experience. And you know, when I think your realtor was talking about this as well, 3 main things in life as far as life-altering events: getting married, buying a house, having children. Well, again, you're expecting soon, so that's one event, and you're buying a house.
Yeah.
There's a lot. These are major milestones in your lives, and you want to reflect back on them positively, not with, oh my good, I wish it was, you know what I mean? So thank you guys again for being great clients. It means a lot to me, and congratulations again on owning your first new home. All right, thank you. You guys have a blessed day.